Happy Thanksgiving, Steelers Nation. I'm Tyler Feldman. I'm thankful for Pittsburgh Steelers football, this Steelers squad, and sweet potatoes. Guys, I love sweet potatoes.
And I'm Ben Bobick. Listen, we all should have been listening to what Wayne Gandy has been preaching to us all season long.
And I'm Wayne Gandy, and I'm still excited about this season, Tyler and Ben. Let's go here on the Steelers Squad Show.
Wave those terrible towels. It's the Steelers Squad. Everything Pittsburgh Steelers every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the Steel City. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. From the steel curtain to the next generation, the Steelers Squad Show starts now.
Yes, it does. This is the Steelers Squad Show, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Again, I'm your host, Tyler Feldman, and on tonight's show, we're previewing another big game for the Steelers this Sunday, taking on the Buffalo Bills, 4:25 Eastern at Acrisure Stadium. But hey, that's a few days away. Right now, I'm happy to be joined by Double B, Ben Bobick, the future mayor of Pittsburgh, as well as Wayne Gandy, the 15-year NFL veteran, former Pittsburgh Steeler offensive lineman. First of all, gentlemen, I would like to apologize on behalf of the entire squad. We were not available. None of us were available on Sunday. We all had conflicts, weddings, traveling, whatnot. So to all of you who listen on a regular basis and watch us on Wednesdays and after every Steelers game, we do apologize. But hey, we're back. It's a Wednesday right before Thanksgiving. A lot to be thankful for. Gentlemen, as it stands right now in the AFC North, thankful that the Steelers are still toward the top, at the top with the Ravens. Kind of expected the Ravens to be there. Lamar getting hurt changed that a little bit. But now, Wayne, we have to digest before we eat all this food tomorrow what's in store for the Steelers against a Bills team that is very turnover prone this season and not maybe the team we thought they would be at this point. What do you make of this early matchup a few days out from a very big game Sunday?
Well, I think the Steelers are in perfect position. I think we as fans, we got excited with how the Ravens fell off and the ocean kind of opened up and you forgot that you still have to play the schedule. People get injured, people get back in the lineups, people get on rolls in the NFL, and now we're here 6-5, 6 games ahead of us. And I will tell you one of the exciting parts for me being in this position. Everything, and it sounds like, just something coaches say, but it is how players feel as well. Everything we want, we're still in control of. And that's what this team could only hope for, to catch a break. Sure, you feel like 7-4 definitely could have been there. But as I keep saying, you have to manage and understand everybody gets a check too. It's just like that first interception. That's just a great play. That's not Mason Rudolph playing bad. That is just a magical play. You're talking about a guy fell in bounds that was not trying to fall in bounds. He just went up to the high point, took the ball away. And it's just with the Steelers, all these games, you have 3 of the 6 games that are division games, if I got the count right. 2 of them are against the team that you're sitting here tied with. So you only have yourself to blame if things don't turn out the right way, because you have, sometimes you're not facing the team or those games are already out the way. But here you still have the Ravens, the team that you are sitting there locked in with, and you have a chance. And I think that with this team, and it's a tough loss. The Bears loss, I was sitting there thinking it may be the toughest of the season, because there was so few things to criticize about the performance. When you watched it, the offense, it did some things. It went on long drives. It quick passes. The pressure really was a part where it was tight ends or a running back matched up on the wrong guy. You stopped the run. It was a very even played game. You had to be happy, and I think that's maybe the toughest loss, but a lot to build on. And Buffalo, right here at home, is a great opportunity. A team, when you look at them, really, they're kind of really, one-dimensional. They sit around and wait on Josh Allen to make plays. They're similar to the Steelers, and they haven't really found receiver number 2. Well, they don't even have receiver 1 or 2 really on their squad. So I think we have a great chance here with 6 games to go.
Blows my mind, the receiving core in Buffalo, having Josh Allen at quarterback. What are you doing from a front office standpoint? Support your guy. Come on. The hard gets harder, though, Ben, because you've got the Bills. Like Wayne said, you've got 2 against the Ravens with a healthy Lamar, 1 more against the Browns. Those are the 3 divisional games left. So, yeah, you do really control your own future. But with this Steelers team and looking at this matchup against the Bills, you still sprinkle in the Lions here in the season. The Steelers don't have an easy road. You'd like to see them bounce back in a bigger way against a Buffalo team that, as Wayne said, is one-dimensional and maybe more beatable than they have been in years past.
Yeah, it feels that way, but I want to go back to what I said at the beginning of the show when I said we all should have been listening to Wayne Gandy this entire season. And it finally, it's taken me this long, Thanksgiving week, it finally hit me. Listen, this is a 9-8, 10-7 football team. Like he just said, they're right where they need to be in terms of that, man. They're at most it was 11, probably not going to get there. At now it's at most 10 wins, but 9-8's looking likely, and 9-8 could get you into the playoffs. So when you look at these next couple of games, you look at the Bills at home, and then you have the Baltimore Ravens. You think from our perspective, probably got to get one of the next 2. Preferably, probably the Ravens game because it is in the division and you want to beat them and obviously and whatnot. But you got to get one of the next 2 some way, somehow. And if you do, you're still right along that plane where you want to be or where you need to be, if you will. Because I'm going to bring something to a different perspective here too. A lot of people associate the Steelers had the division. They would have gotten the home game. They would have if they made the playoffs. Like obviously, you always wanted to win the division. You always want to be at home in the playoffs. But take a look at the AFC playoff picture right now. The Bills aren't leading their division. The Kansas City Chiefs right now are on the outside looking in. Say the Steelers would win the division, hypothetically here, and they would obviously be the 4th seed in the playoffs. Guess who would be coming to town? The Bills. Well, I really don't want that to happen. Or the Chiefs. Well, I'm not so sure if I want that to happen. But you know what? I wouldn't mind going and playing Denver in Mile High. I wouldn't. That doesn't scare me so much as a fan, or going to play Indianapolis again too, who you already beat. You look good again. You really dominated, if we're being honest. Wouldn't mind another crack at the Chargers if so be it, if they were to come back in the West. But it's just a different playoff picture this year where it's not necessarily where the home game may not benefit you in the long run. But that's obviously looking down the line. Just to circle back on not to circle the wagons, but to circle back on what we're talking about here, pun intended. It's just who this Steelers team is, man. It's who they are. And this past Sunday, obviously, it's a little bit different. Everything up to this, it felt a little weird because everything up until it was announced that he wasn't starting, all signs pointed towards Aaron Rodgers being available for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I was telling Tyler this before we started the show, and I'll tell you guys listening at home. When Mason Rudolph came in against the Bengals, I almost felt refreshed in a way, thinking, okay, this could be good. We just need a guy to go out there and keep it simple. We're going to be fine. And sure enough, they were. When it was announced that Mason Rudolph was going to be the starter, for some reason, it took the air out of my sails. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like Aaron Rodgers really wanted to play this game. I'm a bit confused. Obviously not confused why he didn't. I understand if I don't want to play with a fractured wrist. I don't want to go to work with a fractured wrist. And I do this for a living, let alone play a football game. And so, but it's one of those things where I just felt like he was in line to really light up Chicago one more time. And then as the game played out, I couldn't help but think, like, man, if Aaron Rodgers was in here, I think they could have really lit it up. But obviously, you can't pinpoint it just on that. You can't turn the ball over on the road, especially in the way that they did. And like Wayne mentioned, that first interception, they handed him the ball at midfield and they went for it on, the the fumble, and then obviously when they went for it on fourth down and didn't get it. So it was just some missed opportunities on Chicago. You definitely feel like you probably left one slip, but like Wayne's been saying all along, they're right where they're supposed to be.
Wayne, what are your thoughts on Aaron and the Steelers deciding not to play against the Bears, take another week to rest? Aaron Rodgers saying this week to the media that, hey, he just needed more time to heal. He's not a young buck anymore, and this is critical. So in the grand scheme of things, him not playing and beating up on the Bears one more time, maybe a good thing. Wayne, what are your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers sitting out last week? Do you see him playing? We still don't really know if he is going to play Sunday. Or do you think Mason did enough to kind of say, hey, look, I could come in? He was fine. He wasn't mighty fine, but he was fine. And maybe this gives him an opportunity, if he needs to go again, to have more command, even more command of the offense against the Bills.
Well, I think if we go back, I'll continue to do, back to preseason, and we talked about the depth, and I felt like at least 2 games Mason Rudolph was going to have to come in and perform. And I thought he was executing what they were particularly trying to do very well. They were getting the ball out on the edge. You're really not attacking down the field. I'm not sure why. Once you start establishing, you saw that your offensive line was doing a good job protecting him and giving him time to throw the ball. So I don't know why they didn't build on that. But I think you have to listen to Aaron Rodgers. The most frustrating part of playing a long time is you get in this idea that you can continue to generate. You're used to going out and something hurt. You go out a couple of plays, you get some tape. Maybe somebody rubs an Advil on your shoulder and you run back out there. And then you start getting into your mid-30s and something that happened back in the spring is still swollen by Thanksgiving. It just won't go away. So even as tough as someone like Aaron Rodgers, putting him in a situation where he doesn't feel like he can operate, you have to go with that. I think Mason Rudolph has done enough to have confidence with the running game, the way that we ran the ball and the protection. And that's why I said it's so frustrating, because the offense and the way they move the ball is the way the Steelers kind of move the ball. It's supposed to be long drives, eat up the clock, and keep the ball in play, eat up some clock, keep Buffalo Bills on the sideline. So I believe they can get it done. I do believe they have to open it up a little earlier and try to test teams and on the back end with some deep shots.
Ben, when you look at this quarterback situation heading into this game against the Bills at home, the Bills losing last Thursday to the Texans, it was a great game. Bills turning the ball over a ton, and we'll get to that later in this show. But when it comes to the quarterback situation for the Steelers, what would you do here? Aaron Rodgers saying that enough time has passed and hopefully it's a different outcome. He used the word outcome, but he didn't really sway one way or the other. So if you had to choose, who do you want to go with here if both are healthy?
Oh, I definitely want Aaron Rodgers in there under center, no doubt. And it seems that's why he didn't play this past Sunday. They were thinking more long term. You know, Mason Rudolph is a veteran in this league now. He's no stranger to starting football games. He came in against Cincinnati, looked fine. Probably looked more than fine against Cincinnati. But to your point, Tyler, looked fine on Sunday. He was manageable. It was what it was. You don't turn the ball over, and your defense gets a stop or two down late there. Then maybe it's a different ball. I mean, it's a 3-point game. It's a 3-point game there at the end of it. You know, when it's all said and done. But they were definitely, you think they were definitely thinking long term by holding Aaron Rodgers out from Sunday, almost, you know, in a way protecting him from himself in a sort of way, if you will, because you don't want to see that snowball and get worse. Because to what we've been talking about here, think about, you know, to the stretch they have coming up, 2 games against Baltimore, a game against Buffalo, Detroit, winnable games against Miami and Cleveland. You want that guy at as close to 100% as you can be this late in the season, and especially if this is a team that's going to sneak into the playoffs, you need him to be under center for it. So I think the big thing with him talking speaking to the media, I think it was either today or yesterday, just talking about just time was the the key word there. Just needed some time, and I think that extra time, that extra 2 weeks basically, but when you take, from when it was hurt to when they'll play on Sunday, is big. I really do, because, this is a guy that doesn't need to go out and, he didn't, practice today, or he just needs to log at least one full participation in there, which will likely hopefully be Friday. But you definitely want Aaron Rodgers in there, because I think, not even just from the injury standpoint, I think it's a good chance for him to get his legs back under him a bit. Take a deep breath, take a week off, a game and a half essentially, and just reset and think, okay, maybe go back into the playbook a little bit, go back and watch, a little bit more film. Not that he watches more film time, but you guys would get what I'm saying. Just a nice little kind of deep breath reset. Okay, this is where we're at. This is what we have to do, and let that competitive edge take over.
The Bills own the third best overall offense in the league so far this season. The Steelers, as it stands right now, are proud owners of the 28th best defense in the league. When we come back here on the Steelers Squad Show, Wayne's World will be diving into Bebo's Best. Wayne, you weren't here last week. We've got a Bebo's Best segment. So that's still ahead, as well as more Bills Steelers talk right here after this first quarter break on the Locked On Steelers Squad Show.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance. You can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go, while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
All right, second quarter here on the Locked On Steelers Squad Show on the eve of Thanksgiving. Double B, Ben Bobick. WG, Wayne Gandy. TF, Tyler Feldman. Man, I love Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving football. Wayne, before we dive into more talk about this Steelers-Bills game, did you ever play on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, in college, when I was at Auburn, and I had to say that since I got on the T-shirt, War Eagle. We take on Alabama this weekend.
Big one.
The Iron Bowl was always on Thanksgiving. This is before the NFL money bags decided they were going to invade Thanksgiving. If you remember, all the rivalries used to be on Thanksgiving, and we would play on Thanksgiving. As a professional, I'm not sure. 230 games through my catalog, I don't know. So I won't be able to answer that, Tyler, but I do know in college, Thanksgiving games but they're still Thursday, so I hate them. So how about that? Always.
Yeah,
if you're trying to get my feel on what I think about them, I hate Thursday games on a 4-day practice week.
Oil and water, Wayne, and Thursday football games. It just doesn't mix, okay? Okay. Well, the Steelers are not playing on Thanksgiving, but they are playing on Sunday. It's a big one. The Bills 7-4. They started the season 4-0. They're now 3-4 in their last 7. The Steelers, meanwhile, 6-5. And these are two teams fighting for playoff positioning, Ben, as you alluded to earlier in the show. Wayne, let's dive into your world and figure out how in the world this Steelers team needs to move forward to accomplish the goals that they have for themselves the rest of this season.
Well, the health on the defensive side, especially when a key figure to me will continue to be Alex Highsmith. I believe that he just has the ability, and nothing against Nick Herbig and Holcomb and none of that. I just feel like he just brings a different balance to me. He's a piece that you have to pay attention to when he gets on a groove. That running back, that tight end has to go over there and chip him and let TJ off the hook sometimes. That, when I watched the game against the Bears with Nick out there, they never cared that he was rushing. I think defensively, the thing that I think is throwing me off the most is the linebacker play in the pass game. They're killing us with that little seam route slant, that little skinny post. It just seems like the linebacker depth is just never there. And when you watch the game, we're taking away the run. You got 2 new safeties. Wow, isn't that's crazy? When I watch the game now, to see Kyle Duggar and Jalen Ramsey, not even a piece of the puzzle we were imagining back in August. I mean, we're talking about one guy wasn't even on the squad, and then the other guy took the position of the guy that said this was going to be the best defense ever. So we got 2 new safeties.
How could we forget? Quote of the year for me. Quote of the year for me.
And now we're dealing with what most of the time is when the Steelers are struggling, they have the 28th ranked offense and a highly ranked defense. So to see this defense play the way it does, which sometimes when it's clicking, they can get that pressure. It seems to make up for a lot of the miscues. I just see when the linebackers, Queens, whenever they drop back, they're just never in that little vein of taking away that quick slant. And we're giving up big chunks, big third downs and touchdowns on that situation. But I felt like it was a good game plan. Caleb Williams, the Bears, it was an evenly paid game. It was 2 even teams. I mean, when you watch this Buffalo game, and I know we're going to talk about it later as far as predictions, yeah, I feel like the Steelers are just as quality. They have a little edge because they have a guy that can do some things with Josh Allen. But everywhere else across the board, nothing really scares you about them. And I think that's why, we're kind of surprised. They're 7-4, but then once you look at them and their personnel, Josh Allen took all the receiver money. Everybody, where's the receiver? Well, it's in the backfield. That's what happens. So what happens then? When you give him the $500 million, I have no money to play a top team. I have to hope one of the rookies just shines, have a breakout year. That didn't happen for them. But I don't have any fear of Buffalo on Sunday at all for the Steelers. I believe they can, especially if Aaron Rodgers can get it back in the lineup.
The Bills are owners of the top rushing offense in the league. Running back James Cook has been cooking this season, 4th-year running back. He's been reliable and coming off his 6th 100-yard outing of the season. So this is a guy who knows how to get it done. But yes, Wayne, to your point, these Bills don't strike fear into your eyes. It's not like the last 2 years where you're like, oh, come on, this is the year they beat the Chiefs. And no, it's not that. That could happen this year just because of how weird and out of this world it's been with some of these results in teams so far. But yeah, that's an interesting point. The Steelers defense will certainly have their work cut out because they are ranked 15th in covering the run and gave up 31 points to the Bears last week. Ben, Bebo's best. Wayne, you weren't on the show, but Ben Bobick, they call him Bebo. All right.
Okay, so Bebo. I got it now.
You take the first 2 letters of his first name.
Not Bebo, Bebo.
Yeah. I'm down here in Austin, not like the mascot at DKR Texas Memorial Stadium, all right, where there is a big rivalry game Friday between the Aggies and the Horns. We're talking Bebo. Ben, B-E, Bobick, B-O, combined. It's a match made in heaven. It's like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's like an ice cream sandwich. It's not like oil and water. It just goes together. Bebo's best. What is it this week?
Yeah, you know what? It's perfect. I'm glad that Wayne's here too because I'm playing right off of coming out of his world, feeling refreshed because the best got to be this running game for the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. Look at what they were able to do against the Bears. Nearly had 200 yards rushing. Kenneth Gainwell rushed for 92 yards. Granted, 55 was on one carry on that fake tush push, if you will. But something of note here, we were talking about the Bills' rushing offense. Take a look at the Bills' rushing defense.
Bad.
They're giving up. It's
ranked 30th.
Dare I say
they're 30th.
Very bad, if you will. 5.3 yards a carry, 148, pretty much 149 yards a game. This could be what could jumpstart this offense, man, is to just continue to pound the rock with this tandem of Kenneth Gainwell and Jaylen Warren, which they've seemingly found a nice little bouncing off one another. They played great in tandem this past week. Obviously, Kenneth Gainwell had a spectacular game against Cincinnati the week prior. And really, Jaylen Warren was playing well before he got hurt. This tandem is starting to develop that rapport where they're playing off each other. Arthur Smith's doing a great job of pulling the strings now this deep into the season of when to get these guys in there and when to give them the ball. But man, I'm toting the rock all night against Buffalo on Sunday because I think it could be just what the doctor ordered in terms of open up the pass game a little bit, opening up the play action pass game, going back to what I've been preaching the last couple of weeks about keeping it simple on offense and taking what's there. No greater way than to keep it simple on offense, at least when it comes to the passing game, when your play action game is working and your running game is rolling. And that's a credit to the offensive line getting their push. I thought the running game looked great against Chicago, especially when you're playing with a backup quarterback, and you in those games especially, you feel like they're often gonna run it a little bit more, maybe like an extra player or two, just because not that they don't trust Mason Rudolph, but you just always feel that way. But they were having success with it, and it was giving them short third downs, and that's where the Steelers' offense needs to live. We know that. That's no secret, and they need to live in that third and no more than 3rd and 6 and under. Like that's probably the cut line from 3rd and 5.5, if you will, is probably the cut line where the Steelers offense is able to make converting third downs, be a little bit more smooth. So, and I'm toting the rock on Sunday against Buffalo because these running backs are catching a groove. This offensive line is catching a groove, and you're running into a Bills defense that doesn't do that well. 1 and 2. If you're running the ball, you're possessing the ball, and that's keeping the ball to 17's hands on the other side, which is going to be vital on Sunday as well.
Yeah, Ben, that's an excellent Bebo's best, but can the running game be the best? Can they be at their best Sunday against the Bills? Wayne, you've been talking about, hey, let's go to the run ad nauseum this season. I feel like, yeah, they're kind of getting there, but they really haven't gotten to the exact place that I feel like they want to get to. Can Sunday be that game for this Steelers running game?
Yeah, I think they're gaining confidence. If you watch the game against the Bears, and it could have been Mason Rudolph being in there instead of Aaron Rodgers, but they were dialing up runs in the red zone. They weren't shying away with running the ball in those situations where with Aaron Rodgers, they seem like they're trying to hit with the quick strike. And the thing to piggyback on Bebo is just to be time of possession. The one thing with the Bills, when I watch them play, a lot of their turnovers come because they start being impatient. James Cook, very capable running back. But when they start, they get impatient. They don't really like 10, 12 play drives. After about 3 or 4 plays, they start acting like something has to happen right now. And they could be up. Even when they're up, they do this. That's why they let a lot of teams back in the game. It's like they are not cool with slow walking the ball down the field. Well, that's why you possess the ball, to give them that idea, that feel that you got to go out there and press, because typically guys pressing, trying to do a little more, that's when the Steelers are very capable of getting in there and making turnovers. And I feel like in this game, as we're going to talk about, the Steelers got to play from ahead in this game. They got to keep Buffalo in that. And I'm just talking about 3 points. So I'm not talking about in this 10, 12. I'm talking about in a 3-point where they always take the field with this idea they got to do more than they need to. Josh Allen, goes out. He has the 12-yard run, and then he starts looking back for a running back that's trailing him and throw the ball. They just are a very impatient team. So eat up the clock and put them behind the sticks and make them feel that pressure.
The Bills are not all that great on the road this season. They have struggled on the road, and that's what this is for Buffalo here on Sunday. When we come back, we'll dive even deeper into this Bills-Steelers matchup. It's going to be a great football game. I mean, what a matchup this deep into the season. The Steelers, their schedule is hard, but they've got some great matchups, and that's what we'll get in Pittsburgh on Sunday, 4:25 Eastern on CBS. That's what we have when we come back here on the Locked On Steelers Squad Show. It's halftime, third quarter next, right after this. The NBA is back, and there is no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Third quarter of this Locked On Steelers Squad Show on a Wednesday night, the eve of Thanksgiving. The holiday season is here. Will the Steelers gift us a victory on Sunday against the Buffalo Bills, currently 3.5-point dogs against the road Buffalo Bills? Acrisure Stadium will be the place to be Sunday, setting up for a great matchup. Will it be Aaron Rodgers at quarterback or Mason Rudolph on the other side? It will be Josh Allen, and that's what I would love to start. How do the Steelers and that defense that is still navigating and having some good plays, some bad plays, some good games, some not so good games, how do they navigate stopping what is Josh Allen? Wayne, I'll start with you.
Well, I think what was good about the Bears, you faced a guy in Caleb Williams that was a mobile quarterback. He got a little taste. He only ran the ball maybe about 5 times, but they were key when, they let him get out on the edge and make some plays with his feet. That sets up for good film for what Josh Allen likes to do. I think you, as any kind of quarterback like a Josh Allen, just like a Lamar Jackson, you're talking about the same kind of guy for the Steelers to face, a guy that you definitely have to rush in a way. And one play, Patrick Queen, who's a veteran, a guy that the Steelers hang their hat on. He came in on the rush. He knows he needs to stay up on the high side of Caleb Williams. He goes into the inside. He lets him roll. He can't do that against Josh Allen. It just can't be done. It's a different kind of rush that you got to be able to rush from the outside, get pressure, blitz him. I would be very aggressive, make these receivers prove. This is one of those, as I said, complementary football. And I know our secondary, especially on the corners with Joey Porter Jr. is all, a little banged up. Darius Slay in and out. But this is a game where the corners, to me, have to challenge themselves so we can bring that pressure. We got to get up, and play a little more aggressive. Make him make the quick read and come up and make the tackle. That to me, you got to crowd the ball anyway to shut down the run game. James Cook's having a big year. But to me, it can't be those plays where the superhero Josh Allen comes out, because that's when they're at his best. When you forget that along with all that size and height that he has, he's a very fast young man. When he takes off down, you rarely see anybody catching up with him when he takes off and runs. So, it's just a game where, to me, the corners have to be in tune, aggressive, and accept the challenge that it's their week to win and really dominate this receiving core, where you have to Google some of these guys to realize when they were drafted, where they played. And I'm not putting anyone down. I'm just saying they're not those names that Josh Allen has had before. Yeah,
we don't need Josh Allen losing the thick glasses and the tie and ripping his shirt off to Superman. Okay. We don't need any of that. Now, my concern is the Steelers ranked 31st in the NFL in pass yards allowed per game. So when I look at this matchup, sure, the Bills don't have star wideouts, but they've got a star quarterback, and the Steelers in the secondary, they're giving up on average 259 passing yards a game. It just doesn't mix well. It doesn't sit well in my stomach. Like maybe after my third slice of pie Thursday night after that Thanksgiving meal, I'll be like, I probably shouldn't have had that second or third slice, but I wanted it. Ben. Do you have any confidence in this secondary against this Bills passing attack?
What's tough about this this game is Josh Allen's is that type of quarterback, and you hear the comparison. You've heard the comparisons to him to Ben Roethlisberger, and the reason to that is because he's so tough to tackle. You know, guys just sort of slide off of him, and obviously Josh Allen's a much better runner than Big Ben was, but that's not to discredit Ben, who was actually silently a pretty solid runner in his younger days. Pre-motorcycle accident, Ben could tote the rock a bit. But what it comes down to is he's tough to tackle. And that's where you get those comparisons when it comes down to. And there's nothing more demoralizing for a defense. To answer your question, Tyler, I do trust that our secondary could cover guys long enough. But will it be long enough to stop those explosive plays from happening? Is so tough with a guy like that, because it's where that backyard football comes into play. Where they're defending their receivers for 1, 2, 3 couple seconds, like, okay, where's the ball at? And he's running away from 2-3 guys in the backfield, coming all the way around, and then that's where everything just goes out the wazoo, where you could do everything right as a defense when it comes to coverage and getting the pressure on the quarterback, and it could not even matter with a guy like Josh Allen. That's how good he is, because he's able to create those plays with his legs, whether that's buy time in the passing game or just taking off down the field. So I think that is so demoralizing for a defense when you do everything right and it ends up not mattering. And that's where Josh Allen is successful. Now, how you combat that, I think an interesting little wrinkle here is, especially now if Alex Highsmith plays, he's been out the last couple of games, obviously, but if Alex Highsmith plays, when he's in the last couple of games before, you saw them have Nick Herbig, Highsmith, and TJ Watt on the field at the same time. That's where I think they could use a nice little wrinkle, which they may have been holding off for this because you think they got to play Lamar Jackson twice as well when this could work out. Nick Herbig is a fast cat. I mean, that guy, when he's at his best, he's just straight up ducking around the left tackle and getting home because he's just faster than him. That's where you could implement almost that a QB spy in a way where you think he's in there rushing the quarterback, but in reality, you just do it to keep an eye on Josh Allen, because that's basically given Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson basically an extra help too, because obviously these two are going to be relied on heavily, especially when it comes to the quarterback run. But that almost gives them a backup plan, if you will. If you have Nick Herbig in there kind of as a mini spy in his own right, because he's absolutely fast enough to track the quarterback. And so I think that could be something to keep an eye on Sunday, an interesting wrinkle to combat a guy like Josh Allen and inevitably Lamar Jackson as well. But they've been using those three on the field when they're all healthy, and I think it could be an interesting wrinkle. That could be something that could be huge for him on Sunday as well. But ultimately, Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson are going to need to be at their best, and they know that.
Ben, that's a really great point. And I did mean to mention this earlier when Wayne was talking about Alex Highsmith. He was a limited participant in practice today, whenever it was Wednesday this week. Highsmith did practice in a limited role. So we'll see how that pectoral muscle is and if he does play. Wayne, bouncing off of what Ben just said, do you see that being a good wrinkle to deploy against the Bills to have success defensively?
Yeah, you have to get those kind of athletes out on the field. And I think that's where the Steelers have a little edge for mobile quarterbacks. They do have they're a linebacker outside of Harrison. All those guys can run. They can get after the quarterback. Tackling is going to be premium in this game against a guy like that. Any guy, Josh Allen, whether it's Patrick Mahomes, when you get there, you got to make the tackle. You can't let them improvise. It can't be they got out of the tackle. That's when the big play happens. So, sometimes it's just being a little overzealous because you see you got him. And that's what I'm trying to mentally, you got to break yourself down and remember, because sometimes you see Josh Allen and it doesn't make you feel like he can do what he can do. And then he just springs it on you. He's just as good an athlete as anybody on the field. But it doesn't always, from the optics look like that. And then, he's doing these things with the football. He's extending the play. He's going to play to the whistle. His creative mind is always trying to find a way to get the ball somewhere down the field because he feels the pressure of needing to make plays. So I think that the Josh Allen, like anybody taking on the Bills, feel like they got to take him out of the game. But mine to kind of counter him is to make him throw the ball. Let's see early on, can he get the ball out quick? And even if he can, are these guys capable of doing anything after the catch? I just feel like it's one of those you got to kind of almost go in reverse and bring more pressure to Josh Allen. And this is not necessarily saying he can't make the read as much as I just believe these corners of ours for one game this year, we're going to have to rely on them to make some plays.
Where my head is confused is I watched the entire Thursday night football game. Wayne, I know you don't like Thursday night football. I'm on it, but I still watch it on Thursday night. So that's what I did last week. And the Texans defensively gave Josh Allen and the Bills all kinds of trouble. And so on one hand, I'm like, wow, can the Steelers defense, obviously the Texans defense is at a different level than what the Steelers defense is at right now. But can the Steelers defense replicate that kind of havoc? Josh Allen's already thrown 9 interceptions this season. He only threw 6 all of last season, and they still got 6 games left. Ben, do you see the forcing turnovers as a major key to a Steelers victory on Sunday?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's and like Wayne mentioned too, when it comes to the defense, I'd love to see them be aggressive. Don't be passive about it. You know what you're up against. Try to do your best to get after this guy and make him uncomfortable. Force him into those bad decisions, if you will, because that's if anything, if Superman Josh Allen here does have a kryptonite, it is sometimes forcing some things when he doesn't need to. And I think the best way to get him to do that is to make him as uncomfortable as possible and getting after him. And I think it goes back to what we're saying about them too when it comes to the Bills and their lack of weapons, man. It's crazy to think about when you look at their receiver room. I think that this Bills window, this championship window, if you will, for them, when it was at its best, it's when they had Stephon Diggs. Because Stephon Diggs was a true number 1 receiver for them, and it made the guys around him better. Guys like Gabe Davis, who's actually back on the team here, is still getting acclimated a bit, but he was excellent behind a guy like Stephon Diggs and these different receivers. And then the tight end game is always been great with Buffalo too, with Dalton Kincaid and Knox as well. So it's one of those things too that they just have to get after it. But to answer your question here, Tyler, absolutely, you're going to have to turn them over. I mean, think about this past Sunday. People forget that the defense scored a touchdown. I mean, that's T.J. Watt doing all-world T.J. Watt doing what he does best there. And it was still only a three-point game. So I do think the defense is going to have to create some turnovers, whether that be to give the offense a short field to create some points, or also some timely turnovers to where say, hey, maybe the offense does come out looking good. And to our point, for them to be successful is possessing the football and going on some longer drives, if you will. Some timely turnovers it could be, down the stretch in the first half, and they're able to double dip, if you will, when it comes to the first half, depending on who gets the ball first out of the gate, if you will, or just salting away some clock to where they don't have a chance for points, or if in the second half there where it's a close game and you're able to possess the ball and keep the ball out of 17's hands. I think turnovers need to be timely, and they certainly need to take advantage of them, especially if any of them are a short field or in the red zone.
The game is 4:25 Eastern Sunday at Acrisure Stadium in the beautiful city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The game is airing on CBS, so it's that late window primetime Little matchup there between the Bills and the Steelers. We're through 3 quarters. When we come back for the final quarter, the 4th quarter of this Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve edition of the Locked On Steelers Squad Show, we've got predictions and we've got more Steelers talk. How can they beat the Bills on Sunday? That's next. Stay with us right here on the Locked On Steelers Squad Show. Welcome back, 4th quarter. I'm Tyler Feldman. Happy to be joined by NFL veteran Wayne Gandy, former Steeler on that offensive line for a few seasons. Ben Bobick with us as well, Pittsburgh native. My sincerest apologies to your Steel Valley Ironmen. A fantastic season. Came up just short, Ben. I know it was a tough one for you, but still, the Ironmen making the community proud. It was a close one, definitely a tough loss, but a great season nonetheless.
Yeah, it was. It was a great ball game to watch too, man. They fought hard. It was a frustrating late second quarter for Steel Valley, but man, they came out the gate in the second half and they fought to the end. And that's hats off to Seton LaSalle, man. They have a great football team. 2 teams well worthy of the trip down to Acrisure Stadium, getting that spotlight there on Saturday afternoon. It was great to see Munhall, Homestead, and West Homestead representing well on the sideline. And I want to just lastly to make note of that. I thought it was really awesome. They lost a tough game. They blew a 14-point lead in the second half. It was the 3rd quarter. It was, I want to say, they didn't really blow it. It was a lot of football left, but they were up 14-0. But just the tip of the cap to those kids after that tough loss. Every single one of them went right in that handshake line, and they congratulated Seton LaSalle on their championship. Both ends there too. Nothing to hang their hat upon, but it was awesome to see that level of sportsmanship from the Ironmen, even in a tough defeat like that in a big game.
It's great to see that at the high school level when sometimes at the NFL level, we don't see that. We see spitting. We've seen that. I know that's a couple weeks behind us now, but I got an opportunity to talk about the Bungles. I wanted to do so. Hey, tip of the cap to Peters Township, too, in the 5A Whitfield Championship game, taking down Pine Richland. Peters Township, to get to that game, had to beat my alma mater, Upper St. Clair. So, again, a lot of losses amongst us here on the Steelers Squad Show when it comes to high schools in the city of Pittsburgh. But hopefully it's not a loss at Acrisure Stadium for the Steelers on Sunday, taking on the Buffalo Bills. And the Bills last week, they had a few extra days of rest, so maybe that comes into play here. But they lost to the Texans on Thursday night. The Steelers coming off a loss to the Bears in Chicago last Sunday. It's a 4:25 kickoff. The Bears, they beat the Steelers last week. And for the Bills, they're 3.5-point favorites. The over-under is 46.5. So, Wayne, what do you think? What is one major key that we have not discussed pertaining to this game that could lift the Steelers to a big bounce-back victory? I'm not saying it's a must-win. I don't think it's must-win. But certainly when you look at the remainder of the schedule, yes, they control their own destiny within the division, but you'd like to see them win this one and go to 7-5 as opposed to 6-6, don't you think?
Most definitely. You want to set pace. You want to, I don't know what time the Ravens game. I think it is when? Tomorrow or Friday?
Tomorrow night,
it's tomorrow, on NBC.
They play the Bengals, so there, the outcome of that game definitely gives you an idea of what you got. You got to keep pace. It's not one of those things you can fall down 2 games with only 6 games to go. So whatever the Ravens put up, that's what you got to feel like you're going to put up, and that kind of sways the game plan for both coordinators. Ben hit on it earlier. The Steelers are going to have to go out and be able to run the ball. When the team come in, and let them feel it early. You're the 30th rush defense. Okay. When you lead a game, you're going to be the 31st rush defense. That's how you have to go out and play this game. It's winning time. It's not about style points. It's about trying to find a team's weakness and go out and exploit it. I think the Bills have 2 good safeties and Bishop and Poyer. Joey Bosa is over there. We've seen a couple of times this year him being able to make a play or 2. So Arthur Smith, the OC, you got to make sure that Darnell Washington, Gainwell aren't found themselves like they did against Martez sweat the other day, where you got someone that's blocking him that shouldn't be on him. But I think the Steelers really have to bear down and run the ball offensively. Keep that XL heavy package going. It has paid off dividends, and I see they're even expanding it with Spencer Anderson. Now he's tight end, super tight end, full back. He's doing everything out there, and it's really, really working, and they're expanding on that. I think offensively, the only thing we got to get a couple of shots downfield. And in college it's called 50-50 balls, but it's some kind of way you got to design one or two plays where it's just DK Metcalf and somebody, and the ball is up in the air, and we as fans got to live with whatever comes out. You got to be able to do that with this offense, because everything else against the Bears was there. There was just never a deep ball, a deep chunk play that really pushed the other side of the field. But I believe the ability to run the ball and try something deep. And then defensively, as I've said since we've been on tonight, the cornerbacks. I know it's been a little rotating over there. Pierre's in there. Porter, he's in and out. Slay, Echols, whoever's in the game. It's time to do something. We're 12 games in now, and we started with so much excitement about what these cornerbacks could do. It's time for them to give us a game, Ben and Tyler. It's time for them, for one game, to go out against receiving corps that you are at least equal to. And to me, that aspect will help you manage and maintain and keep Josh Allen in the pocket.
If it happens, if they play lights out, the cornerbacks against Josh Allen in that Bills passing attack, great. Thankful. What a blessing. If they don't, I'm not losing sleep, guys. I'm just not, because we've talked about it. This Steelers team, we pretty much know what they are and what they're capable of accomplishing. They're right on track to accomplish that 9-10 win season, and that be that. So, again, if it happens, great. If not, I'll be okay. It'll be hard, but I'll be okay. Hey, the Ravens schedule, they've got the Bengals Friday, or Thursday, excuse me. I'm jumping ahead. They've got the Bengals Thursday, their first of two meetings against the Bengals. They go Bengals, Steelers, Bengals, Patriots, Packers, Steelers. I mean, it's not just the Steelers with the gauntlet here to end the season. So I'm fired up, Ben. I'm excited to see how this plays out. I will say, though, if Lamar stays healthy through the season, is there any shot of the Steelers team actually keeping pace with Baltimore? Am I allowed to think this way?
No, absolutely. Because like the Ravens are in that category of teams. When you have an MVP quarterback in Lamar Jackson, they're always going to be a Super Bowl contender, and they just always are when that guy is healthy. But to your point on who they're a gauntlet of the schedule, Joey Cool's back under center for Cincinnati. Joe Burrow is back, which gives them a greater chance to win that football game. Just point blank period. Yeah, point blank period, man. He just does. And so that's huge when it comes down to it. I might wear just a I might even have on just a hint of orange tomorrow in my Thanksgiving getup, if you will, just to show.
Tis the season. Tis the season. You can throw in some orange.
Exactly. But I mean, it's going to be tough. But like I said towards the beginning of the show, man, they got to get one of these next two. It feels like they if not, then their backs are up against the wall. And so they got to get one of these next two. And what's huge is they get this one at home on Sunday as well against Buffalo. I mean, I think it could be a vintage Steelers crowd right off the Thanksgiving. Everyone's all fired up from their Thanksgiving feast with their family. They're all ticked off because their family's been ticking them off at the Thanksgiving feast. They're tired of them. They just want to get out. They just want to crush some icy light, crush some iron with their buddies down on the North Shore, and they just want to get after it. And you know what? That could just fuel this team to a victory. Get it. We need a vintage Steelers crowd there Sunday night at Acrisure Stadium. But man, it's tough. It's just tough against teams like Buffalo because when you have a guy like Josh Allen, You're always in it. You're just always in it. We knew that through the years that we had Big Ben, man. If you got a guy like that, you're always in it. And this Bills team has had 10 days to prepare, 10 days to stew on that, which was a pretty bad loss for them against Houston. When you go, and granted, it was on the road and it was on a Thursday night, and I don't hold Thursday nights over teams' head to what Wayne was saying.
And Houston's a good team. I mean, that's a
good
that's
defense
a
and a great defense.
Yeah,
but it's a tough pill to swallow when Davis Mills is beating you. Is basically what I'm getting.
Yeah,
here.
He's got a little bit of fire. You see CJ Stroud not. What's going on?
It's
down
a
there
tough
in
pill to
H-Town?
swallow. But they got 10 days to stew on that. They're in a situation where they feel like their backs are against the wall when it comes to potentially winning the division, their own division. They're going to need an AFC win here against the Steelers. So you're going to get the Bills at their best. So a lot of things are going to need to line up for the Steelers on Sunday. And I think at the top of that list is Aaron Rodgers is going to have to be available.
Wayne, take me into your mind right now as a former player. What is a player thinking about at this point of the season, knowing you've got 3 division games left, you've got a tough one Sunday that you've kind of got to win? What would you be thinking about at this point if you were still strapping the pads on, putting the helmet on?
Well, the one thing that both of you alluded to for the Steelers and the Ravens is that you got the real games coming up. Like, you're not just going to walk anywhere to get these wins. You're talking about big names, the Lions, the Bills, the Ravens. This is the time of the year, that if you want to go on, you want to play, whatever you've done up to this point, let's throw that out, and we got to play football. And I think there's a big challenge that's in front of them. These are the games that really define where you will be in 6 weeks. There's 6 weeks left, and maybe Aaron Rodgers needed another bye to find his groove again because it's been a little off. But watching the Steelers continue to get better running the ball with Gainwell and Warren, that gives me a lot of hope. And as a player, as I said, I think the Steelers and how their record, other than the Lions, who's really been – everybody else is speculated to be better. The Lions is the only one on the schedule who has proven that. The Bills are chasing for their division. The Ravens are trying to make up a whole lot of ground to get back in this. And even when Lamar was there early in the season, they were not world beaters then. He was just keeping the game tight, but they're trying to figure things out over there. So with the Steelers, I just feel in my spirit, I'm in that 26, 24 Steelers.
Okay.
If Aaron Rodgers is back. Now, it's a different score if I wake up Saturday and he says he can't go. But right now, in my mind, Aaron is going to play, and we're going to inch this win out.
All right. Wayne has Steelers 26-24. He also seems to believe, and I concur, that Aaron Rodgers will quarterback on Sunday. Ben, prediction, what do you got?
Yeah, I think that it's going to be a great matchup of 2 AFC potential playoff teams. That just what it comes down to is you're going to hopefully have 2 future Hall of Fame quarterbacks under center. One is in its prime and one is in his 41 years old with a fractured left wrist. Buffalo needs this win when it comes to their division. They got 10 days to prepare for it. I think this one could get ugly on Sunday. I have the Bills winning 34-17.
Wow. Okay. So Wayne's going Steelers close one. Ben saying Bills in a blowout. Look, if you're the Steelers, you kind of need to take care of this game. You've got Baltimore on the road the following week, and then a tough one on Monday night at home against the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, how about if
you
we
just you just listen. This is what it comes down to.
I was waiting. You just guys were all locked in.
You just need the Bungles to win on Thanksgiving. I'll be a lot more thankful if Cincinnati can pull out that win, because then that brings the Ravens down to our level in the division, and then we play with a little bit of house money going into the next week's game with them.
I have a feeling the Ravens beat the Bengals, even with Joey Cool back. I was kidding. If you're listening to this after the fact and not watching and seeing the cadence and the facial expressions about the Dolphins in 2 weeks, okay? All right. I'm going Bill.
About to say the Miami Hurricanes.
Well, that offense may give the Steelers defense some problems too. I hate to say it. Hey, I see the Bills winning on Sunday. I want the Steelers to win so badly. It would bring me so much joy. But I see the Bills winning 27-19. Again, the Steelers play these games close, but it just doesn't seem like they have enough on either side of the ball. Like, I'd love to see the running backs just go off. I really want to see it. I have a feeling that it's just going to be pedestrian again. And it's not me going in with this negative Nancy energy. Sorry to my mom, that's her name, and she can't stand when I use that phrase. But I got to go with my gut here. It's telling me Bills. I hope I'm wrong. Gentlemen, any final thoughts before we wrap things up and enjoy some turkey tomorrow night?
Mason Rudolph, Mitch Trubisky. Now, if that happens, I'm gonna have an extra piece of pie.
that would be something. That would be something. Maybe we'll see it. I want to see Wayne eating an extra piece of pie. Wayne, favorite pie? What are you digging into first?
Pecan.
Pecan pie?
Yeah.
Ben, any final thoughts? Also, let me know your favorite pie.
Apple pie for me, just all around great American. Can't go wrong with it. Thankful for you guys. Thankful for the Steelers Squad show. It's been a fun run this fall. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you both, Wayne, Ben. Thankful for the two of you, as well as Eddie Garcia and Christopher Carter. Both were not able to join us tonight, but we are still thankful for them. Remember to check out Chris's podcast, the Locked On Steelers Daily Podcast, Monday through Friday for his episodes. My favorite pie, as I'm sure you're all wondering, the key lime pie. You don't often see it during Thanksgiving, but I get down and I get to the downtown with a key lime pie. I don't mess around with that pie, okay? That graham cracker crust, that's what I'm talking about. Hey, hopefully the Steelers don't look crusty Sunday. They need to come out with a bang, get a win at home. Maybe it'll happen 4:25 Eastern at Acrisure Stadium at the confluence of the three rivers. Monongahela, Allegheny. What am I missing? Monongahela. Ohio. We don't need to worry about the Ohio. It's important for the city, but I don't need to worry about it now. Hey, a reminder, you can listen to the audio of tonight's show on the Locked On Steelers podcast channel, wherever and however you podcast. Remember, like and subscribe. That would make us very happy, okay? We're already happy. We want to be happier, okay? That'll do it, though, for this Wednesday night Thanksgiving Eve preview edition of the Locked On Steelers Squad Show. Again, Bills Steelers 4:25 Sunday. Will be on with you right after for that live post-game show. Until then, for Wayne Gandy and Ben Bobick, I'm Tyler Feldman saying good night, and here we go. Enjoy Thanksgiving. And again, we'll see you Sunday right after the game.